You guys wanted some advice, so here you go. Hey, what's up? My name is Kade, and today I'm doing a Q&A video. I posted in my community tab asking you to leave some questions so I could answer them in this video. Thank you so much to everyone that left a question. I'm really excited to give you my best advice. Many of you ended up asking me if I had a lot more of advice type things instead of getting to know me more, which is totally fine. I just have my computer here so I can just read off these cute questions. Top Cat asked, how did you feel towards your gender while growing up? And did your whole family accept you? Growing up, I did not know what trans was because back in the day, there was not a lot of open media, especially toward trans men. I did not even know that that was an option. I mean, of course, thinking back, a lot of the things made sense. Like, I'd only want to play as, like, the guy character or just really always wearing masculine clothes, always wanting to hide my chest. So it wasn't as much, like, thinking about, like, gender as much. I was called, a tomboy all the time. So if anything, I just was thinking of myself as a tomboy. And growing up, my family, they were okay with the idea of me being a tomboy. After I came out, my mom had a hard time for a while, but she did eventually end up accepting me. My younger and older sister, when I came out as trans, did support me pretty quickly. It's really interesting because I feel like with my sisters, it was a lot easier to tell them that I was trans rather than just telling them more about my sexuality. Then my dad, I feel like he just doesn't really care in general. So it's not that he doesn't support me for being trans or being gay or pansexual. It's just like, he doesn't really care that much. I hope that was able to answer your question. Okay, next. So Sawyer asked, any advice for mask non-binary who could get kicked out next year? I'm so sorry to hear that you are in that situation. Being kicked out is such a hard thing to go through. I was out of my mom's place by the time I was 17. My biggest tips for you is make sure that you have a support system to fall back on. If you have friends or extended family that accepts you for being you, please go ahead and reach out to them and see if there's any way that you can have like a living arrangement for a little while. And I'm just assuming that you are possibly on the younger side. Just being aware of what you have available, I think, is very important. Once again, I'm very sorry to hear about that possible situation that you're going through. Being kicked out is very scary, but just know that it is going to be okay and take it day by day. So the next question, I'm not totally sure how to say their name. It's like Haru, something like that. They asked, I'm trying to get top surgery and I need help finding a doc that takes insurance. I can't give any specific advice depending on the type of insurance you have, but from my experience, whenever I've had to deal with, insurance going through different companies, I usually just give them a call because they usually have a phone number on the insurance card to get more information. And I originally, before I got top surgery, I was asking, I was being very technical, so the person on the phone wouldn't be like as confused, because I was asking if I could get a double mastectomy with this specific top surgeon. What I recommend is either giving them a call or going on their website. I also know that a lot of insurance companies actually have like a place that on their website you can see like what doctors and surgeons are in network. Okay, so the next question is from Beatrice. Once again, I'm so sorry for screwing up all the names. So any tips for anyone who is in the closet, because I am a bit afraid of my family's reaction, trans, at a young age or at any time that you started questioning your gender identity, did you tell someone? So if you're still kind of questioning your gender identity and you're not totally sure if you want to just be outright and telling your family, yeah, I'm trans, because that can be a really scary experience, especially like with not being 100% sure, because then your family could possibly be like,
okay, you said this, now you're saying this.
family be like that sometimes. What I would recommend is keep watching more YouTube videos like mine, as well as from other trans people, to see if, you know, a lot of the things that they're saying make sense to you. I also recommend, if you're still not totally sure where you're at with that, go to a gender therapist. And if you don't have like a gender therapist specifically, go to your local Pride center, and they should be able to help connect you with someone that can actually have good therapy services to help you understand where you're at. So when I was starting to question my gender identity, my brother-in-law was also kind of doing that same ideal of like questioning it, and I actually talked to him about it a bit, and I think that was very helpful. Is I did have quite a few like online friends that I talked to, and I think it was able to really help out. So this next username, I'm so sorry. It's just so many letters. I'm not gonna even try on that one. But here's the question. How did you feel when you get testosterone at first? When I first started testosterone, there were a lot of changes that I did notice. If you want to see my full video going over all of my like in-depth changes that I noticed, check out the video above. But when I first got my first shot, mostly it was just really painful and discomforting in my leg, because like my leg tensed up when I was doing the shot. But I did notice like I was pretty hungry really quick, and like within the first week, the top 3 things that I noticed is I was a lot more hungry, I was a lot more sweaty, and I was a lot more horny. Plus my little dick was starting to come out to play. The next question is from Scotty Vlogs. How did you come out to your parents? I'm having a hard time thinking about how to do it myself, so maybe you could give me some ideas. I did not probably come out the smartest way to my mom, because I came out to her at a sex shop. If you want to see that story above, I'll also post that. It was a very embarrassing story, but I still was able to come out to her. For the most part, what I recommend is to have just a very serious but open conversation with your family members. Having like come out to each family member individually, so you don't feel like overwhelmed, and it's not like you might feel like being attacked by multiple people, just more like a individual conversation. When you feel ready, you want to come out and like tell them that you're trans. Just be like, hey, I would love to have a serious conversation with you. I've been thinking about something a lot, and it's something that I would like to share with you. Do you have some time that I could talk about this with you right now? If not, let's figure out a time that we can talk. That way they're not like stressed and pressured by other things that are going on, and they can hopefully give you their full attention and hopefully have less tension around the conversation. If you're still kind of worried about coming out to your family members, make sure that you have like a backup plan so you can hang out with some friends and, you know, be able to vent about any of the BS that may happen when you're coming out. Please leave in the comments below if you have any other tips about coming out. So Simon asked, and I'm kind of paraphrasing with all of these as well. I guess my question and what I wonder is, does it get better after doing shots for a few years? In the very beginning, it was extremely rough to want to like actually go through and do the process. But then after a while, I started to get a better relationship with it. Plus the way that like testosterone makes me feel, and especially made me feel in the beginning, it was just so worth it to be able to just have like a slight uncomfortable pain while I'm doing the shot, and maybe a few days after, depending on how like, if I like flex my leg or my butt while I'm getting the shot. Something that kind of screwed with me, and now I just have a worse relationship with giving myself a shot. So if you watched my video talking about my marriage and divorce, you know that my ex was also trans. There was this one time that we were doing our shots on the same day, and basically like we're doing the same time, 1, 2, 3 going in, and after he did his shot, he passed out and like started seizing, and it was just so like horrifying. And it was just because like after doing the shot, and I'm not saying like testosterone causes you to pass out at all. I think it's just the mix of like having like the blood pressure really screwed up, but I just like am really scared that I am going to pass out like while I'm doing this shot. I have kind of like a back and forth relationship with doing the shots. I even considered like trying to do the gel, but I think that the shots is like cheaper, so it's fine and it's worth it. But if you are able to get someone that's willing to give you the shot, like my boyfriend actually gives me my testosterone shot in the butt, and that's like been extremely helpful. If he weren't there though, I still would just give it like to myself in my leg. Okay, so the next question is from Ashton. They asked, how do you feel about teens transitioning? So if you realize that you are trans and you're a teenager, I think that is something that can be very useful to be able to understand yourself a lot more. If I knew that I was trans in high school, I think it would have been a lot more scary and intimidating, especially like wanting to openly transition. But I think that if I knew, I would feel kind of like less confused, especially about my sexuality. You know, I always was more of a tomboy and always was more masculine, and a lot of people just assumed that I was a lesbian, so I was like, I mean, I guess. So if you're a teenager and you are realizing that you are trans, I think that please go ahead and be the person that you are meant to be. And just remember that you're the only one that can create the life in front of you. I remember back in high school, I didn't really feel like that was a true statement, especially living at my mom's place. Nowadays, it feels like such a time in the past, because just realizing more and more that like you can create your own path in life. Please make sure that you are able to get some continued support. If you're also a teen that is transitioning, make sure to also like have a good conversation with your parents and after you come out, and try and make them understand like why this is important to you. And hopefully they will be able to understand how like your name and your pronouns should be respected. So the next question is fave indoor and outdoor activities. I really enjoy cooking. Of course, actually that's a constant, but I also am enjoying like playing some video games, so that is really nice. You know, I'm not as much of a fan of the outdoors, but I guess this kind of counts as an outdoor activity, but I love going to farmers markets. It's one of my favorite things, because like the fresh produce and being able to see like a bunch of different like types of food, I love farmers markets, so that's probably my favorite thing to do. So it looks like Bernardo, I think that's the name, asked, how did you deal with waiting for top surgery? Did you work out beforehand? And if so, how did you work out? And like they also asked, is like in a binder, sports bras, etc. I think this is an extremely important question, so I really appreciate you asking it. Before I had top surgery, I absolutely did work out, especially like 2 to 3 months prior, and I really focused on doing like chest exercises. When I had my top surgery consultation, my surgeon basically said that the more muscle that you do have in your pec area, the easier it is to really like line up the scarring, to be able to have it like underneath your pec muscle. So it's almost like a more of a hidden like scar. Waiting for top surgery is really hard, but focusing on getting like a really strong muscular chest. I mean, I didn't get it very muscular before top surgery at all, but working towards that really did help me mentally. When it comes to working out before top surgery, please do not wear a binder while you're working out. It'd be much easier mentally just to have a binder on all the time, but that is not good for you, like physically at all. Of course, you can do it like up to 8 hours a day with binders, but working out and doing like a lot of heavy breathing, that is the point where you just need to not be wearing a binder. So what I recommend is to wear like 2 sports bras that are not like too constricting, and even one. I know that it can possibly give dysphoria, because I definitely know that it gave me dysphoria, especially like with any of the running around type exercises. But something that I also did is I would wear like that sports bra type thing, and you can actually see a photo. I'll post it, like I'll show you in one moment. That's kind of like when I just wore a sports bra. Before top surgery, when I did go to the gym, mostly I actually wore this big heavy sweatshirt with the logo across the top, so then it wouldn't be like, people wouldn't just automatically be looking there. Yes, there is like still something there, but it's not like
they got the titties.
And on that same note of working out, it looks like Nathan asked, what workout shorts do you recommend for someone with hip dysphoria? What I recommend is to make sure to get some nice black shorts. I mostly recommend that because it doesn't give like as much of like, your eyes don't go straight to the hips. Another huge part of it is positioning. Seen any like specific brands yet that I have like fallen in love with, specifically helping with hip dysphoria, but I know that like where you have your shorts on your hips makes a huge difference. If you wear your shorts lower and straight across, it does amplify the way that your hips look from each angle. If you pull it up, check out the difference. And I don't just pull it straight up, I actually pull it up at an angle. That way it's able to almost give the illusion of a thicker booty, not as much focus towards the hips, and I even pull it down in the front. Same pair of shorts does look very different in my perspective because I'm so hyper-focused on my hips. If anyone else has any specific brand recommendations for workout shorts, please leave it in the comments below. And still on the subject of kind of like the gym type of physical activity, it looks like Jason Murrow asked me how my training is going. If you saw a few videos back, you know that I actually definitely gained some weight during this quarantine. So it has been a lot harder to be able to like maintain motivation. But in these past like 2 weeks or so, I have been able to work out a lot more and really like be a lot more aware of what I'm eating and being clear with what I want, because I don't like feeling, you know, bloated and uncomfortable all the time and just like heavy in general. As you may know, that originally I was talking about doing a bodybuilding competition. It was gonna be in October this year, but with COVID happening, it did get canceled, unfortunately. I still plan to do that bodybuilding competition, whether it be next year or the following. It just was not in the cards this year. It looks like Corton, once again, I'm so bad with names, I'd be a terrible substitute teacher, asked me what my dream job is. My dream job is to be a sexual educator, especially being able to give sexual education for the transmasculine community. So being able to give correct, clear information to those that are needing it, I think is so important. So I think something that a lot of people don't consider is sexual health. Because of course there's mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, but a lot of people don't consider sexual health. I want to be able to help out people so they can be having safe sex, but also have a better time and having less dysphoria while in the act. Because I feel like sex should be enjoyable, and not being able to connect with that part of yourself because of dysphoria really, really freaking sucks. I want to be able to help out people in our community, and that is a huge reason why I am making videos on YouTube, a lot of them talking about like sexual health and reviewing products like for that community. Even though I think the job is making it like as a career is a whiles away, I still am going to continue to put this hard work in because I am passionate about helping others around this. I want to be able to take the shame away from having a trans body and take away the fetishization of it. We are just people and we do deserve pleasure. We're not just something to look at or play with. So the last question is from Bodhi, something like that. And they were basically asking me why I decided to be able to open up about my experience and share my innermost self with the whole world. Similar to the same response as my dream job is I want to be able to help people, and hopefully through my content people can be more comfortable with themselves and have better sexual lives, as well as not feeling so alone. I'm the type of person that loves to create, so I think that's a big part of why I like to do this. I remember when I first came out as trans, I would look on YouTube and watch people like Ty Turner and Jamie, and they would really help me. I would just feel like less alone. So I want to be able to help out and possibly be that person to someone else. Just know that you are not alone, and you are loved, you are cared for, and you are seen for who you are. That's all the questions that I have for you today. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you think that my videos would be helpful to your friends, please share them. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Peace.